Begin our meeting with roll call to ensure we've got quorum, and then we'll get started with tonight's meeting. Welcome, everybody. Hope you had a good summer so far, and tonight we can get you some time to go home and kick your feet up and relax a little early. How about that?
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, Leslie Brown.
Mr.
Right.
Brown is not well.
Dr. Bruce,
She's running late. She should be here.
Angela Butler Owens. Online. Let me make sure I get her into the. Okay, we see.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Just want to make sure. Rachel Corona,
Not in the room,
Present.
on the line. Hello, Rachel. Hello, Angela.
Lauren Dalbert,
Here.
Edward Harris,
Present.
Bianca Lachaud.
She won't be joining us.
Absent.
She's absent.
Walter McMath,
President line.
Dr. Nichols,
Present.
Nettie Obembe,
Here.
Willie Robinson,
Here.
Antonisha Hicks,
Here.
Dr. Frederick Lee,
Here.
Pat Young,
Here.
Kim Jones,
Here.
Alvin Gibson.
Here. Looks like we have quorum. We have how many regular TCAB members do we have? Present.
Present.
Yeah, so we can determine if we need to activate any alternates tonight.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7. We have 7, 2 alternates and 2 alternates.
We need two,
We need two, right? Because we have 7. We need to have 7 total.
right?
We have 7 in the room.
Okay,
We
1,
already have 7.
2, 3 online.
We're good. Yeah, we have quorum in the room.
That's right. We don't need to activate any alternates tonight. Okay, great. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to open now for public comment for anything that may not be on the agenda.
If anyone online would like to make public comment, if you could please raise your hand and we will promote you to panelist. There are no hands online or anyone in the room? We have one member of the public. All right, no public comment.
All right, no public comment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so we need to move forward now with the approval of the record of action for the July 13, 2026 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes for the last meeting record of action? And are there any recommendations? Are there any concerns or suggestions towards those minutes?
Need a motion.
Yes.
I would move the approval of the record of actions from our last meeting.
Mr. Robinson has made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Warren has made the second. Are you ready for a question? All right, that was good. All right, all in favor, vote by raising your right hand. Those online. All right, those opposed, raise your right hand. Those abstaining, raise your right hand. Seeing none opposed and none abstentions, motion passes. Thank you very much. All right then, we did not cover the working agreements. Let's go back to that very quickly. Make sure that we don't have to add or subtract, multiply, divide anything. Is everybody okay with our current community agreements? Anything we need to add? All right then. Well, thank you all for taking time out of your schedule to come out. Thank you all for working so diligent in between. I understand that there's a wonderful announcement in the room. Let's do that now. So we can celebrate one of our TCAB members who has made a wonderful accomplishment, a milestone.
Me?
Yeah. What is it you just shared earlier? That you had a major accomplishment.
I just released my first book last week.
You celebrate successes. And
Yeah.
that's a success.
Thank you.
What's the title?
This ain't over yet.
Hey,
Oh.
really excited. Send me that fight.
Well, I'll send it out to you guys.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Oh, you didn't bring it up. You can't plug
I was ear hustling, but it's something that we want to celebrate, especially with the work that we're doing. And,
Yeah.
you know, African-American male, individual doing great work, putting his works out there in front of the world to see. We want to celebrate that.
I just want to share that online. We have congratulations from John and Angela, and Pat was
Thank
having
you.
a little technical difficulty, but I will note that Pat abstained from the vote on the.
Okay, that's beautiful. I know that wasn't on our agenda, but it's something that we want to celebrate because I believe it's important to celebrate each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Most notably for me, that you said my first book, which means there's more to come,
Yes, of
and that's
course.
really exciting. Sorry about that.
And I think that fit into our working agreement.
I got the bug now.
Yes.
Right. So like I said, I think it worked into our working agreements because we said we would celebrate successes. So that fit in that
Nice
spot.
timing.
Right. As we move on, let's look at item number 2. There's some updates that we want to take a look at regarding the provider request for proposal to RFP and the outreach. So what we want to do is let's go ahead and hear updates with regards to the RFP updates and outreach. Staff, can you share with us where we are?
Absolutely. So the RFP for service providers was published on July 23rd. Currently, we're focusing on outreach. We have 2 bidder sessions coming up. Thank you to Nettie's suggestion to make it most accessible. Those are both optional. And we will be receiving questions from BidNet between now and until the closing period, which is the 19th. And the deadline for the submission for that, the proposal will be for September 4th. So yes, it was published, outreach is in motion. The team, got the application out to about over hundreds of individual emails. And then we also have our listserv of a couple thousand folks that it went out to. And, that included folks who received funding for the last cohort of work and everyone who had applied previously and just all the community partners that we know. Outreach is still in action, so if folks get a chance to go in the tracker and add more colleagues or agencies, we're happy to get that invitation from BidNet out to folks so that they can apply.
Okay, any questions, comments, suggestions?
Oh, and sorry, I just wanted to say, and there were 53 organizations that signed up.
Cassandra just shared with us one more signed up, so 54.
Oh, we have 54 folks who are signed up for the bidders information session already.
Pretty good, and again.
Pretty good, huh?
I
Yeah.
think so.
We have 53 applications for the $1 million RFP that went out over a year ago, and those contracts have just since they've closed. But 53 applications, so to get 54 interested so far is really good. Yeah. And it's optional, right? It's not even mandatory, so
It's
it's
the biggest conference off. Okay, and you had a question, sir? Well,
The lead agency, RFQ.
Yeah,
We're
talking
heading
about
that
that
next.
next. We'll get to that next.
Yeah, and I did a push for more outreach today, so I got about 40 more agencies engaged today. So yeah, if folks get any ideas or wanna share, please reach out or use the links that we have, and we'll keep moving on that.
Any comment from those online?
We have oh, Narissa, you also got another congrats on the book release. From Terrence, and then also, Walter gave some clapping hands for 54 applicants.
Oh, and just to clarify, it's not, we haven't received the applications yet, but 54 interested individuals. We actually, don't see how many applications that we receive until it closes. Our purchasing department sends us them all at once.
So.
So 54 interested
Oh,
people.
contractors of interest.
Exactly.
Who have, like signed up, and so that means they've already like at least signed up on BidNet.
Yeah.
So it took the time with that.
Themselves or whatever. That's it.
Do we ask for a letter of intent with that?
Alright, yeah.
No, we have
No.
not, we need to add that. We need to add that to the work plan. We have, we added other things. We need to add that.
Okay, and we'll have the record show that Dr. Mariah Bruce is with us in person.
Yes, yeah, yes.
Welcome.
Apologies for my tardiness.
No worries, thanks for letting us know.
Alright, did we get comments online for the last
Oh, I
conversation?
feel that was still great. And that was referring whether it was the application or the fact that folks signed up.
Was
So,
there public comment?
oh, any public comment on this? If folks want to make public comment, please raise your hand and we'll promote you to panelists. And seeing none, we'll move forward. So yeah, that was just like a little summary.
I think that's good that we got that. We still have another opportunity to keep pushing the information out. This is the first bidders conference. What's the date of the second one?
The 18th.
The 18th, so we still have room. And like Dr. Carr said, it is optional, so we still could have more people of interest, even though they don't show up in the bidders conference right now. So the application process. So I think I called everybody just to make sure that we would got stuff in so they can make the first bidders conference if possible. And if you still have people, let's get that information in place so that we can touch as many people as possible. I think this is a great start, and I'd love to see us be able to have even more. And that doesn't mean that everybody gets the opportunity to be selected the first time. At least now we'll have a backlog, or we have a database, and we'll have bench strength to know who we can tap on as the program gets larger and things get bigger, and we can continue to spread the network out further. All right, sound good?
Awesome, yeah, and feel free to just forward to like any of the announcements that we made, like if that just makes it easier, like feel free to just forward that to folks. If that makes sense.
Question from.
So there's a question from Marissa. Is the bidders conference like a Q&A for the RFP and or details about the RFP? It's actually both. It's both, Marissa. We will review all the details for the RFP, the background, the context. We'll talk about the application process, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers for anyone that's interested. So yes, it'll incorporate both of those things.
Okay, now we got receive and get the information regarding. There's something else on the screen.
She said, okay, great.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for asking a question about the RFQ and the entity. I think we're ready to talk about that now.
Yes, so that portal closed on Thursday, last Thursday, and we have received 10 applications for the lead entity. Last week, the team hosted a orientation for the reviewers. There is a review panel of 5 folks. It's mixed between male and female applicants. 4 are African American, 1 is an equity expert, who's also a person of color. All of them with expertise in large collaborations that would be like appropriate for this level of review.
And not applicants, but review
Sorry,
panel members.
Review panel members were oriented. I apologize. I'm just getting my sea legs back. So we have folks who are geared up, and they will actually receive all of their all the applications tomorrow to review. Our team put together a, scoring card for them and an orientation that would help them you feel ready. They've already had a couple weeks to review the actual request, so they know what we're looking for. And yeah, we're excited for this part of the process. So that'll take place over like the next month for evaluations. And what else? Evaluation using published rubric. So yeah, folks will be graded on what we worked upon as a group. And we're really excited to see. I'm really excited for this piece.
And just a reminder, this is phase one, and so to make it through phase one, applicants have to score 80%. You remember that from the RFQ? When we made those changes, and so they get 80%. On September 8th, when this first evaluation period closes, we'll know how many of those applicants will move forward to phase two. At which time they'll submit a fuller proposal, which includes their full scope of work, their quarterly and annual goals, the bid, so the dollar amount that it will require for them to fulfill the scope of work. So that's phase two. And so here's a timeline here. So you can see August 6th, what Jessica just shared. We received the statement of qualifications. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And then, so we received the statement of qualifications. We have the evaluation period taking place where the panel reviewers will do independent review, and then there'll be a consensus review at the end of that. Qualified vendors will be identified on September 8th, which is the Tuesday after we meet next. And then phase two will open for the folks who are moving to the next step in the process. And we will have bids by the first week of October on the 5th. And interviews will be October 21st. Are those going to be public?
We want to confer with equity committee about that, about the interview process. So let's confer with equity committee and we'll bring it back. We'll let everyone know at our September meeting.
So the interview process sounds like it's still being developed, the process, or we have something with input from here about what that process will look like?
Well, so no, the input from TCAB is now complete. And so we will develop that with equity committee, which is why I was saying, let us confer with equity committee now to figure out what that is. So we got the rubric for phase one and phase two, but we didn't necessarily talk about the details of the interview. But now that it's published and now that it's out, now we'll have that public conversation with equity committee.
Help me out, how discrete is this process relative to those reviewers going from phase one to phase two? Is that pretty discrete? I don't recall that as a discussion.
Tell me what do you?
Meaning, reviewers are usually asked to not disclose any information about what they're seeing and reviewing.
Oh, absolutely. They've signed confidentiality statements already and conflict of interest statements.
et cetera.
Yes. It's through the county's procurement process. We had to follow exactly what purchasing, what the purchasing protocol. So they've signed confidentiality statements and they've signed conflict of interest statements. They are confidential, so we can't release,
Sure.
the roster, but we can, what Jessica just shared, the composition. We wanted to just let you know the composition because it aligns with what we wrote into the RFQ.
But just so
About
you know, it's not
competition.
all county, not everybody's from Contra Costa County work. I mean, maybe the geographic region, but they don't necessarily work for the county.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to get a list of folks together who have a lot of experience and who have high integrity.
I remember the number 5, and as far as communities or areas that they represent, or you at liberty to say whether they are county, you mentioned not all county employees, but were there any emphasis put on a reviewer from the community, so to speak?
There is a reviewer from the community.
And that,
Yeah.
of the 5, you know that how many are county employees and how many?
Only one.
One county employee.
Yeah.
I'm just asking for the particulars on that part. One county employee, one from the community.
Yeah.
What are the other 3?
So let me pull it up.
Philanthropic advisors.
So you're asking for categories?
And we can actually write it out because some of them are also,
NGO
some of
leaders.
them also, they're not a single identity. So we have community foundations represented, we have healthcare system, we have a healthcare foundation, we have one county employee. What am I missing? Oh, we have, an elected official from the priority service area. I don't mean to laugh, it's just that, you know.
But I heard the number.
That probably starts to make it more narrow than we're trying to keep them confidential, so can you, I'm sorry, we'll put together a profile. Because we do have to share that with equity committee.
I'm not interested in the profile.
Okay.
I'm interested in, well, maybe that's a part of the profile, but the makeup. Because it's representation from, because what tend to happen is that then I believe there needs to be some kind of input from the community. And obviously from the agency and the county. And then the various representative from the various core part of the work that's to be done, like the health, et cetera. So I was just looking for that, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. So that's why we asked you all for your assistance in coming up with the selection criteria and the rubric. Not that you all do represent the community, but not that you only do. So we're following the process that you all created is what I'm trying to, and so yes, there is community representation on the review panel. But can you, I know you're asking me questions, but maybe you can provide a suggestion if there's something you're not hearing?
Well, it was more because I thought we had passed that point, but I was thinking that you mentioned the total number of reviewers on the panel, is that correct?
Correct,
5.
that's correct.
Okay, of the 5, I was saying, and I started to say, I would think that one of the 5 would be from the community.
And
Like,
when you say
live in
from
Contra, Costa County.
and when, that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
when you say from the community, they all are from the community, but what do you mean by that?
Okay, what I mean by that is that typically reviewers come from employees and persons within the county itself. They may be from the community, but they're more governmental representative.
Right.
There may be one or more from the health community, because that's a major part of the work that we want done.
Right.
There may be one or more from whatever major representation of this work. And that's reviewing that in terms of their background to ensure that what we're looking for is achieved in screening for what we're trying to get.
So are you saying are you saying a community member who is not employed anywhere
Well,
or is not employed by? Because what I'm trying to say is 4 of the 5 are African-American community members who raise kids here, who are community members. They also have jobs, you know?
Yeah,
So what I'm trying to say is, and I don't mean to like talk in circles, because I hear the point, but I am also trying to figure out. I'm also trying to figure out if there's a category that.
may I use an example for you?
I'm listening.
Okay, I served on a review panel for a major program within the county from the air district. And they were concerned about someone who may be from the community, but brought technical expertise. Someone who brought just general overall community involvement, meaning that they're involved in the community enough to be a part of some community-based organization or nonprofit. Because they come with a different perspective and they see things in a little bit different fashion that you're looking for to get done. And then one was representing of the panelists that I was on, there were 3 of us. One from that had technical background about what they were looking for. One that came that was representing the governmental agency itself. And then one that was basically a community. And that's kind of the sense of what I'm driving at. Not that all of us may be from the community, but we all come with some specific interests and a level of diversity that help to review and bring a special kind of a point of concern to the review process that is not overlooked.
I would say 2 of them are probably like on the community advocacy, like a neutral leader who's gonna bring a community focus that's beyond any particular entity that they've ever been a leader at. That would be my educated guess. But we can wait until we publish the profile, details, however we wanna like name it. Do folks feel comfortable with that? Or are there any other questions like regarding that specifically?
Yeah, excuse me, in terms of when you're gonna publish the profiles, what, around what date? Excuse me.
We'll publish those when we go to the equity committee for their review. They'll want to know the whole process, not just, they'll want to know the number of applications and then we share the,
The equity committee period of time we're anticipating is.
well, we share that with them on November 16th, but we'll provide them an update. Let me see, hold on, I'll tell you the date. It's the third Monday, it's September 21st. We'll provide them an update on September 21st, but we can also, like I said, come back here and do another update on September 15th when we meet at our next. But
Well, I don't want to hog the process, but one of the things that I'm concerned about when you're putting together a community kind of concern program, and I offer that, the only reason for this is because the persons who are the elected official have not done, or the system has not allowed them to do what needs to be done in the first place. Because if everything was done at a certain level of equity and parity, we would not even need to be here. So now, if we're here to ensure, in my mind, that the elected officials don't just take over and dictate everything. We need to make sure that we get strong input. Most certainly, they play a role, but not the role to the point that if I'm gonna sit here and give my input and then go to them and they detour everything I've done, what was my purpose of coming here in the first place? And I'm not, that's probably some strong will, that's probably a strong way of putting it, but that's how I feel about it. So I'm here at the table to ensure that under normal circumstances, they wouldn't hear my voice. But if I'm here to give my voice, don't ignore my voice. Does that make sense?
yes, it absolutely does. I mean, and yeah, I'm in full agreement with that. I was
So the
trying to
equity
answer.
committee play a role, but not the role of just, I don't like that, so now we're gonna go the way we wanna go. That's my feeling.
Equity committee is not on the review panel, so they'll get the recommendations from that review panel. And I know, there was a steering committee prior that was made of community leaders, and then this entire committee is made of community leaders. There will be a community council that this group will help stand up to. So there is, and even the panel reviewers, just to reiterate, only one actually works at the county. The rest are community advocates who are very focused on Black wellness. So I think that we're trying to build multiple layers of engagement to make sure that the process feels accessible from different ways where we can have a community voice that's not just coming out of our office or out of the board. And then there's a possibility that as we get you updates that we mentioned in September, as the interview, like the scope of the interview shape comes to bear, like what perhaps, this is just me saying this, and I'll be happy to directly work with equity committee. We can maybe the questions can be approved by this board. Like, we can continue to build out ways to make sure that it feels like I don't want you to feel like you're not being included in the process. I think the TCAB has done a lot of the work to lift this up and to shape it into something that is a community thing. But yeah, I also hear what you're saying outside of this particular I think we're doing our best. And if you have any other like specific recommendations, we can try within our ability to see how to continue to make it feel like robust, and we're going to continue to hold it to a community focus.
So what I'm hearing, I'm just trying to pull it all together in a nutshell. Mr. Robinson, you're concerned about the work being done and getting to a level of the equity committee, and they're like, nah. Is that what I'm hearing you saying? Well, because, let me finish my question real fast. Because the structure is that it goes through the equity committee, or equity committee has oversight, with regard to recommendations of, now it goes from the equity committee to the entire board of supervisors. But it has to go through that process in order for it to get there. Our job, as I see it, and I don't mean the other committee, I'm talking about us. That was a joke, y'all supposed to laugh. Thank you, thank you, Dr. Brooks, I appreciate it. So the thing is that what we're charged to do is to make the suggestions, recommendations strong enough that they make sure that when the process is going into place, the equity committee says, this is tight. Not necessarily saying that this, and they're looking for anything that may not be complete before it goes to the entire board of supervisors. Is that the function of the equity committee in this process?
It is. And they have asked for the TCAB's recommendations, which we did. You presented them with an RFQ. You presented them with an RFP. We do know what happened with the RFQ, right? Supervisor Salesperson they wanted to edit it and came back and shared that update, but
that was at the equity committee level when we got them that says RFQ could be stronger, we think, if this were incorporated.
Right.
So they brought it back and we massaged it and we made a way for that to happen so it could be stronger.
Right.
Okay, keep going, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so once it goes to equity committee, they're a working group of the board. They do all their workshopping, all the work across the county in these subcommittees. So the equity committee does represent the board. However, once, something is complete, it goes to the board. And, I'm not saying the board can't make a different decision, but in our time, 3 years, everything that the equity committee has recommended related to this work then the board approves it. They're like, you've workshopped it, you've went back and forth with the advisory body that's been appointed by the board. You've done that already. And we trust that work. The board is saying that to equity committee and then they usually approve it.
Any other questions? Does that answer what you were looking for?
No, it's in a different direction.
I thought I was trying to bring it to the direction, is my understanding. So help us understand where you are so we can understand how to best support each other in the process.
I was just raising some concerns, not trying to change the process, because I think I understand the committees emanating from the board of supervisors and they found to make the conversation. My question initially started out by the reviewers, because that's where the input will come in terms of the final selection of whoever becomes the contractor.
And the rubric that was created, like, they can't go off that script, like, you all created the rubric.
I trust me, I do understand that too. So obviously I'm confusing the issue, but I was trying to be as simple as I can. At the end of the day, rubric has been set, the direction has been given. The scoring come from the screening or the screeners or reviewers.
Right.
Those reviewers are the people who look at what you ask them to look at, and they're looking at what's being presented to them, and they are scoring it. At the end of the day, their scores are going to determine the ranking of all those who apply.
That's right.
Yes.
And I'm saying that's the process. In that part of the process, I'm saying fair representation should be there. It
Right.
should not be all county employees, whether they come from the community or not. And I'm
They're
saying,
not. It's one, as we mentioned multiple times, 1 out of 5. Just want to make sure, since you're reiterating that, I want to reiterate the actual truth.
that's not helping me in terms of finishing my point. But anyway, yes, most certainly. And I don't want to beat the dead horse to death. But I'm just saying, coming from the perspective of those who are reviewing, having a fairly diverse background, because someone's going to be looking at it from one perspective in that view, another will be looking at that. So that determines the final scores to determine who are the finalists for getting the contract. And I'll leave it at that, but that's kind of where I'm coming from. So I understand the overall process. I think I do, to some degree. And I'm just saying, having sat in the seat of a reviewer, I know my input was not expected to be that of the technical reviewer, because I was looking at it from the standpoint of a different perspective, but it all fits within the parameters that we were given to look at.
Right.
What is the guideline? What are they saying? And I'll say, yes, that meets the guideline to this rating, 5 or 10 or whatever the case may be. And that score ultimately determines who are the founders for to get one.
And what I was trying to communicate, and I hope it didn't sound like I was shutting it down, because this is dialogue we value. I just want to make it clear. We absolutely value this. And I think what I was trying to communicate, but maybe I got a little, is that we share the same vision. And I was trying to answer, we share the same vision. We want those reviewers, because you all have shared, this is not the first time we've heard it, not this process or off, we share that vision. That's the reason that we're here. And so the 5 reviewers that we pulled together, that was at the heart of what we were thinking about. Maybe that's how I should have answered it in the first place. I apologize for, I think sometimes you all just in transparency, because we are trying to represent community. Nobody has our back like this. Oops, we're public, never mind. It's not, we sometimes get it from both sides, and we understand that's the role. And I'm not asking for, this is not a ORHA pity party. All I'm saying is I was trying to say we share that vision. And so when we put together the review panel, the goal was to make sure that community is represented. And so that's to my answer around like 4 out of the 5, I would say, do represent, because they are advocates. They've been here, they've been in this work long term. They didn't just show up on the scene. They're people that other community members trust. And we've seen that in our going arounds, in our dealings. So I probably should have just said we share that vision. And that was our intent in pulling together this panel, that they represent a community.
Nadia, so yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that, because Mr. Robinson, your concern is this group's voice. So I just want to make sure that we understand where you're coming from. I'm a little bit confused. I think maybe Jessica answered the question, but it seems like you still have more concerns. And I just wanted to state that from my understanding, what we set up from the proposal and what we have for the reviewers, I feel like we have the driving force. We give it to them. So if there's any concern, they're going off of what we give them, right? And when Jessica was talking, I said, I think maybe Mr. Robinson is talking about community activists. And so she said they have that representation there. So they have 4 out of 1, right? So we have 4 community activists there. And then they're going off of what we've given them. So, but I'm still not quite sure that answers your question. So I'm confused, and I don't want us to move on, if you have a concern and
Obviously, I'm not communicating very well. It was just a point of clarification, and I'll determine pretty much that as long as there's a clear, and I try to be specific, diversity with those who are reviewing, that was my concern. I don't know who they are, and don't need to know who they are, but take that under consideration. If you got reviews, then let them come from different backgrounds so that they can add value to the final selection.
Yeah, I think Jessica said we do, right? Or
Well,
you do.
well, that's when I raised the question about the 5 and what constituted the 5 by their their background. And you did, Jessica did mention that, but when I was asking about, were there someone from, I think, the card basically said that they were all from the community. And that was kind of missing the point, but we got to the point that we clarified that. So if it satisfies everyone else around this table, I'm okay. I'm just raising some concern. So I've been around a little bit, so I don't leave these meetings with my tail tucked between my legs and not satisfied, but I will voice my concern, not to change anything, but to raise it. And if it's the majority says we're doing that, I'm fine. I just raise the concern.
And I think that's why we're all here, because we all have different backgrounds, different perspectives, so that we can make the best possible recommendation. And I value what you bring to the table, because you bring a perspective that some of the rest of us may not have. If this has been a challenge in your experience, you don't want to see that challenge be recreated someplace else. So I want you to hear that I'm listening for a way to be supportive, of the process. And I think we all in the same boat as to what Nettie said as well. So thank you for raising it, because we don't want something that's one-sided. We don't want something that's not full representation, so that we can get the best network off the ground that we can possibly get. You know, and the lead entity is going to be the driving force. So we really need to make sure that we get exactly what we need in that situation first, and not say, oops, we missed something. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that concern. Like, our team did work really hard to think about who we thought were like a really good representation within 5 people that could, could hold the integrity, could keep anonymity, would have the community's voice at heart, and also who would wanna do technical review, right? Cause there's some people are like, I don't got time for that,
I
right?
mean, we
You know?
did get some people to say no. It's a lot of work we're asking, just like you all volunteering, right? It's a lot of work we're asking them to do. Some people did say no.
So we really tried, like, I just want you all to know that every time we set stuff forth, we do try to come. That's why we're in these roles, with a little bit more of a community focus first, and then we kind of see what are the widgets that we have to put in that are county specific. I did forget one update about this, there was a question, that came in through the portal, the BidNet portal yesterday, regarding the, request for proposals, and that was asked and answered yesterday. So we are continuing to stay up to date on the, communications with the prospective bidders. Thank you to Cassandra.
Okay, great. TCAB members online, anything you want to add, subtract, multiply, divide regarding this discussion? Hearing none, do we have public comment? Well, this is in this portion of the
If
agenda.
anyone would like to make a public comment, if you can raise your hand, in the Zoom room.
Nothing.
And that's Walter.
Walter.
Yeah. Walter says nothing at the moment and no hands.
All right, well, thank you, and now I think we can move to the next agenda item.
This is.
This is just updates. This
This is
is
updates.
the last, yeah.
The next agenda item is the last thing, is that what you said?
Yeah.
The next agenda item
You did it.
is the last thing, and let me check the clock.
It's the last thing.
So did I prolong the
It
meeting?
hasn't even.
Yeah, you asked the teacher for homework.
So we had a very good meeting.
All right. I think we had a robust discussion, and I think it was very much needed. And when the agenda was set, we knew that there's some things that we needed to make sure we emphasized and got clear. And so that's why the agenda has the number of items it has on it, so that we can be on the same page. There was a question as, since whether or not we need to have a meeting or not have a meeting. And I think that this was opportunity for us to set precedent that this is important work, and that we need to meet regardless. Because if we don't meet and the community goes and they want to look and say, oh, they don't have anything to do, we still got plenty to do. And so let's knock it out, get the gift of time, and I'm gonna be quiet so we can get the next agenda item, so we can do just that. And no, you didn't prolong the meeting, you helped us be more clear on what we were doing, so thank you. Next agenda item is,
We're just sharing some updates about like where we are, as a TCAB.
You all
That-
accomplished a lot.
You have, this has been a lot accomplished. In fact, I think even some of this yellow on yours needs to be updated because mine's all green. But we're pretty much looking forward to September. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the lead entity proposals. We'll also talk a little bit more about the executive director role. And this team will be helping shape like basically the specifications for who would be hired for executive director once the lead entity is on. There's also gonna be criteria about the community council and
The board
board
of
of
directors.
directors. So those are kind of the last 3 design requests from this team, are around these other like important roles and who who's the type of candidate we should look for and what is required of them. As well as if we have any more outreach in the next little while. We had originally, anticipated that the process would be, we might be done with the TCAB by August. So we've been a year
this
in.
month.
Not done yet. Well, we're not quite done. We still have a couple more
Not
months.
quite there, huh?
Not quite there.
Quite.
However, not because this team hasn't been moving through. As we know, delays have happened in other areas and, we're so glad that we are moving forward, with confidence and integrity and with the community at heart. So if folks will have us for a couple more months, we certainly do have,
It's a nice thing.
we do have, and we do have a request for folks to stay on for those final design pieces and, I will update these things for folks. It'll be more about like, as these components come on, as the lead entity comes on, the lead entity will then start coming to the TCAB to give updates to this TCAB.
Yeah.
And those, all the concerns and like all the happenings at that time, we can continue to engage and steer them towards the way that is needed. Are there any questions? Are there updates for other organizations or other milestones or other things that we want to discuss at this moment? Or that people want to share?
You guys have scared me, so I'm gonna keep my mouth.
Oh, sorry.
That's the
I am a little scary.
Actually,
I'm scary.
since you're opening the floor, and I don't wanna hog the meeting, but, there are aspects of this that history has shown that when things like this come together, you put a lot of time into it. And then, well, just look at what's happening with us in terms of all the fight that's going into getting certain things in place, how to get a rollback. And they'll roll back because we, the voters, are not very conscientious about who we put in elected office. An elected official in their setting, guided by, I call it institutional biases, will take away things that you work hard to put in place. I guess because I've been around a few years, I've seen a lot of this. And so while I've dedicated my time and effort to this point in time in my life to being at the table, to participate, not to take over, not to run everything, but I'm gonna share my experience with what I'm seeing in place. And since you allow for testimonies, I would tend to testify about my experience only. But don't take my experience for granted. And if I'm raising a question, I do apologize. I mean, I come off with the right wording, but it's not to put anyone on defense because everyone's work and time is appreciative. Jessica, Kendra, I was on the study when you came on board, interviewed you. I was very much concerned about how would an organization run with co-directors. When you have to look to one person, that means that those two parties, in my mind, had to be on the same page because when they make a decision, you got two people don't always come together in concert with the decision. So this is working out pretty good. I'm happy to see co-directors for the RESG. Since I was a part of that process, that said, and I was very, very concerned about how do you do that? Well, it's working. So I don't mind stepping back to say, I didn't quite understand it, but they're working it out. But what I'm also concerned about, and I'll stop it after this statement, about how the Board of Supervisors, I'm on another committee that's trying to ensure that the Board of Supervisors don't take away all the things that we put into the process to get them here. You may not know it, but they're pulling, we have meetings all the time, because decision makers and elected officials change, and they'll come with different points of views, different ideas, and don't understand how we got to where we are. So I'll leave with that, hopefully with having you have a little bit better understanding that I'm not trying to put anyone on the defense.
Yeah.
Share what you have to share. Don't defend anything because I'm raising a question, but if I ask a question, you have an answer, fine, then don't. I'm good. Thank you.
I like that, because part of what the criteria were, even when we were interviewed, was lived experience. And so that lived experience we bring to the table. So it's important that we get a chance to hear. Because we're not always in all these meetings with everybody else. We don't always get to sit at the table, not always behind the scenes. So, but we may bring another perspective that somebody else in the room may not see. So I worked with a bishop one time and his phrase was working together works. And so the fact is we work together and as we have a common goal that we're focusing on, and it's not an individual focus, it's a group focus. We're looking at a network that is gonna support our community. Something that's never, ever been done before. So guess what's gonna happen? We're gonna trip and fall sometimes, we're gonna have to pick each other up and Mr. Robinson, I respect and honor the fact that you have been who you've been as long as you've been with the NAACP, with the other things that you've been doing. You've been at the table fighting and working things out. I'm your junior, and I like to be able to learn so I can be able to do what it is that you've been doing and be effective. And I think that's what we're all working towards in the end of it. And unfortunately, sometimes we as African Americans get a bad rap. We can't get along. And the fact of the matter is that we do get along and we make it work. And we're gonna fight the counter narrative because this thing is gonna stand up and it's gonna be successful. And it's because the ground floor, and whether or not it was a checkbox to start with, I don't care who's listening, whether or not it was a checkbox to start with. It's not gonna just be a checkbox, because we're gonna make it better than a checkbox.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I think that's our commitment to the process. We're gonna support the RESJ because they're ultimately responsible for what we're doing. And so we're gonna make sure they get what they need so that we can get what the community needs. And I think everybody's on board with that, so thank you. You know, you don't slow things down, you're additive and not something that's duplicative.
You know, I'm shy.
Right? So with that, yeah, so with that in mind, we got the updates, I think we covered, next steps where we are, right? We've got those, and I think that what we can do now is, I like to do, to close the meeting, but I like to do it this way tonight. There's a phrase called una pulau. And what it means is
Just
one.
Just one thing real quick, I just wanna say one extra thing. I'm really protective of y'all, so like anything that folks like mention on the TCAB that's outside of the scope of work, I still like, it goes into our work plan, it goes into our team discussions, it goes into our equity committee, it goes into closed door meetings where I should talk less. It definitely comes up. I honor y'all's expertise. I believe that it's important that, like, it's important, cause I know that when I show up and I haven't implemented what you all have asked, like, not just because I'm worried about it, but it's because I believe in the same things that y'all believe in terms of community. Like most of my work has been community facing. This is my first government job. I say that all the time. You know, and a lot of my work has been about representation, bringing the people who are most impacted to the table. So I just wanna like, and I'm not that I'm here to show my resume, but just so you know, like anything, even if it's been beyond the scope, I still find a way to put it in. I still find a way to put it in, even if somebody just calls or texts and says, I had this concern, I have this thing. I really make sure, like, I'm riding for TCAB and then everyone who works in our office wants this project to be successful regardless of any bumps and barriers that come up. It's like, have you ever gone bowling and the toddlers have the little bumper things? Like, I feel like we try to.
Some grown folk have.
So we try to put up those guardrails as best we can to really do the best, like with any, you know, there's some tough spots, but we really try to make sure that we're holding on to the best of what we can. And that's why sometimes you probably might be like, okay, you've already asked 15 times or stop sending me all this stuff, but I just really want to make sure that if there is that feedback, some folks call me all types of times and all time windows. Some folks maybe don't, but like that's always available. You know, like, especially if it's like, hey, well, when I come in here in September, since we have a lighter agenda, I wanna know this, like that, you have that ability. You really do. You have the agency to ask for what you want, or to even say, hey, I don't agree with this, and have it on public record. I mean, that's your right. And I do want, so even any challenges, that's fine. I just want people to trust that when I say something that I am saying what I need to say. But yeah, so I just want to make sure I said that before we go into Una Palabra. My bad.
I feel that,
Thank
Like-
you.
like all that you said, I felt that from both of you the whole time.
Yeah.
Peter's not here tonight, he doesn't feel well. So, we'll just keep him in our positive thoughts.
And Leslie said you.
And that's the.
Smart.
And
Energy stuff, right?
is Angela still in line?
Yes, but just as, an attendee.
Okay, so here's what I'd like to do tonight. As we close, there is a phrase called una palabra, and it's one word. Yeah,
Es en español, un
so
frase.
you'll see. Hablo español muy.
So, yo también.
Your studio español en escuela.
Estudiaba por 3 años en el colegio de Chabot.
I know more than one word, okay? So the deal is this, if you would be so kind tonight as we close. If you looked at the process overall, where we've started to where we are now, and take into consideration what it is that we have ahead of us. What one word would you use to express where you think we are as we close out? And so let's kind of do that. And if you need to use 3 words or a sentence, it's okay. But not a paragraph, because we'll try to go home. Alright, so the fact is, if we can do that, and I'll go last. So you would like to start?
I'll start. Cautiously optimistic.
Okay. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
I'm quite content with where we are.
Okay.
Engaged.
Engaged, all right. Dr. Wilson?
I'm gonna stick to the one word, ascending. Ascending.
Okay. Good.
Accomplish.
Fantastic. All right.
I'm gonna say ambitious and engaged.
Okay.
Satisfied.
Okay. Lauren?
Where we're supposed to be.
All right, let's hear from the folk online. Can you get everybody in the room? Alvin?
Discovering, being a new member.
And welcome. This is your first time physically in the meeting, and we want to welcome you here. Hopefully you can give us some insights of what you're seeing and hearing as a new person from your perspective before we.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not as bad as this. Then the answer.
All right, let's go online, and online is here, your one word or your one sentence. Who wants to start?
So I'll start. This is Walter McMath or Walter John McMath. My word's going to be melange. And the reason I choose that is because I think time and time again, we've really shown in doing this work that we're not a monolith. We really bring a diversity of perspectives to this work. And I think that's very important.
Thank you so much, Walter.
He's an attorney, right?
Yes, he is.
Pat is ready.
Back, come on.
My word would be collaboration.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here too. Thank you very much. Others online?
I'll say open-minded and flexible.
You got everybody? You gotta get included too. Do we have somebody online?
Cassandra, you wanna say something, Cassandra?
At the public.
Sandra, would you like to say something? We're coming to you guys next. Okay, Ori, Shay, what would you say? Staff.
I'll say, trust the process. That's what I like to say to our team. Trust the process.
Progress and perfection.
Dang. Okay, so I'm gonna say inspiration, gratitude, and then I'm gonna say, put it forth for the youth. It's bigger than us.
Wow.
I would say successful trailblazers. So we're blazing a trail. It's never ever been done before. And the fact that we are going to make it happen. And that we are better together. And as a result of that, this is going to trust the process, pull it all together, we make it happen. Mr. Youngblood, you in the room?
You know, I was thinking, I heard, there's, this title. It ain't over yet.
Okay, now.
That part is title.
We got a note online from Angela and it was hopeful.
Hopeful. Thank you, Angela. So as we all doing this, I want to understand too, we all have lives, we all have things that are happening in our lives. And devote the time that we're devoting to this and balance our lives. Some people are balancing stuff that none of the rest of us know. And stop before I get emotional. But I appreciate you. Bottom of my heart. I want you to understand that I feel good being a part of a team of individuals who didn't know each other to start with, who come from different backgrounds, and for a common cause, we're gonna make this thing, and it's gonna last, and our people are gonna be blessed. So with that in mind, if there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Alvin, did you want to share your perspective coming in first, your first time here?
First time here.
Turn the mic off.
I respect the work that everyone's done. I'm gonna make some requests to Kendra and Jessica, so I behind the scene things that brought us up to this point, so that I can.
What district again? You work?
District 4. So,
He's on the ground helping our people every day. We thank you for your work.
Thank you so very much. All right, with that in mind,
I motion to adjourn the meeting. Dr. Mariah Bruce.
I second that motion.
remove the proper second.
In our.
By Dr. Bruce, the motion was made, and by Brother Kim, the motion was second.
A fresh hand up there?
I think he's voting yes.
Oh.
All right.
For your support.
You vote in advance? All in
Just-
favor?
Hi, over here.
Your stuff up and let's go home. And those opposed is stay. And if you want to abstain, stay here and figure it out. Meet the jury. Thank you guys for a great meeting.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you a lot.
Good job.
Right.
Oh, this brother here was there for both.